Hawks. The division isn't out of reach, and the pieces that they could dangle are crazy appetizing. What's their move? Good morning, by the way. Happy Friday.
Good morning again, Lauren. Thank you so much. Yes, I'll start with Lucas Giolito because he, to me, is their main trade piece to potentially move. Yes, we could see Tim Anderson moved as well, Lance Lynn, but Lucas Giolito is having one of the best seasons of his career, and I was told yesterday by multiple sources the Dodgers are interested. Lauren, this trade situation, this particular scenario makes almost too much sense. Of course, Giolito is from L.A., went to high school at Harvard-Westlake. He's a rental. We have seen the Dodgers make significant moves for rentals in the past, whether it's Manny Machado, Yu Darvish. We know well all the Dodgers pitching injuries, concerns that they've got about their depth. And as I documented earlier in the show, they've got the most top 100 prospects of any organization in the sport. So I do think as we approach August 1, the Dodgers can probably make multiple big-time deals, and maybe they're one of the teams that's lurking there on Shohei. But I do think for a lot of reasons, a Giolito deal makes a ton of sense for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's so interesting. Alex Avila suggested last night Giolito and Tim Anderson out west, and he could have my jacket if he wants for 10%. You know what I mean? Easy peasy. We just saw the best of the best on display, JP, in Seattle, and I would imagine that you look at it from a different lens. Who could move? Who was just an all-star? Who's back? And what do you think?
Well, how about this? Michael Lorenzen of the Detroit Tigers. I thought that Lorenzen pitched pretty well in the All-Star game. He's been a very versatile arm for the Tigers this season. And when you're getting someone at the deadline, you want to know a few things. Number one, is he a great clubhouse guy? The answer there is yes, one of the great clubhouse guys in baseball. He's a very adaptable player. He's been a starter. He's been a reliever. He's been traded before. So you check a lot of boxes there. And I think he showed up in a big way at the All-Star game with the baseball world watching him carefully. I think he's pitched better, Lauren, than what that ERA would suggest. You see it there. It's a pretty low whip. He doesn't really walk a lot of guys. I think in the right circumstance, again, the Dodgers are certainly one possibility. A lot of other teams, whether it's the Reds, of course, where he began his career, Michael Lorenzen, I believe, will have a lot of interest to multiple teams. You're seeing Scott Harris now in his first trade deadline as the Tigers president of baseball operations. He'll want to make some moves and bring back some young talent. I think Lorenzen is one of the clear trade candidates between now and August 1st.
I was looking at Cincinnati's prospect list. There is a list for days. We will see. You know, I'm talking trades, and somewhere A.J. Preller is licking his chops. You know, he's ready. What's his plan at the deadline, JP?
Lauren, it's a really great question because the Padres, as we know, they entered the season with World Series expectations, and they now have a record below 500. At the moment, we have seen Peter Seidler, their chairman, say publicly in recent weeks that they plan to stay the course. Well, depending on how the next 10 days go, they could potentially trade two of those arms you just saw on your screen a moment ago, Blake Snell and Josh Hader, without really affecting their chances to win the World Series, at least next year. Juan Soto obviously would be a different case. He is still under control for next season. But notably, Lauren, he has not yet signed a long-term extension with the San Diego Padres. And ostensibly, the reason why the Nationals moved Soto a year ago was because they couldn't sign him. Well, a year later, the Padres haven't signed him. So we're led to wonder, what exactly does that mean? And is there a team that steps forward and feels better about their chances to sign Soto long-term and really overwhelms the Padres? I do think, to your point, A.J. Preller always enjoys making a move. And so I think he may find a way to buy and sell at the same time. Maybe he holds with Soto while moving one of those pitchers on an expiring deal, or potentially both of them, Snell and Hader. So we stay tuned and watch. But I do think their pitching has gotten a lot better in recent weeks. They still, I believe, have a good run in them during the second half.
Derek Jeter suggested the Yankees should trade for Soto. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea. And listen, when you look at the New York Yankees, and by the way, how about this? You're welcome, Sean Casey, here to be a new guy to work with as the hitting coach of the Yankees.
But on a platter. Here's one.
Right. But overall, Lauren, the Yankees and the way their outfield is situated, certainly it would be a move for the next year and a half. The grand vision of the Yankee outfield this year was Bader in center, Judge in right. Because of injuries, they've only started in that alignment 11 times all season long. They've had to find different ways to be creative. I would concur with the captain there. Pretty good move, I would say, for the Yankees.
That number is crazy. I had no idea. Hey, we saw Sal Perez in Seattle. JP, I was looking at his baseball reference. 12 years, 238 home runs, and yonder has him going to, can you guess? First guess, top of your head.
Well, I would say maybe I know Sal Perez makes his home in South Florida.
There you go.
I'm guessing maybe the Marlins there. And it's actually, Lauren, I think a fantastic idea. So credit to Yonder. And that Yonder, by the way, is going to take my title as a baseball insider because Yonder's got a great idea. I love the idea with that young Marlins staff. A lot of players who are trying to make their first significant playoff run. You take someone who has done nothing but play in big games his entire baseball career. I think he's got a chance to be a Hall of Famer in Sal Perez. They've had a pretty young tandem behind the plate. Catching wise, I think Sal would give them a lot of power, a lot of guidance to that young pitching staff. Curious, of course, to see does Eury Perez come back during the course of the second half. But I love this idea. I think, too, though, with the Royals, they really value what Salvi does on and off the field. He does have a full no-trade clause, so he would be able to guide this if, in fact, he were to be traded. But I do think, as to Yonder's point, if you were to imagine Salvi going anywhere, and I think it's still a big if, I would expect the Royals to try to keep him and help him mold this next generation of competitive Royals teams. But if he is moved, the Miami Marlins, I agree, are the best suitor of all.
Rest now, JP, because sleep is going to be scarce. Leading up to the deadline. You love every minute of it. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend outside of Central, presented by Hyundai. A few days removed from the Home Run Derby. What do we think? Kudos, by the way, to the cameramen and women, how they keep track of all the balls because pitches coming out of the arms. So
my biggest takeaway for obviously Vlad and Julio, they put on a show, but Adley Rutschman, I did not know he had pop like this. And
from both sides.
From both sides. He switched. He was lefty here, and then later goes to the right side.
For bonus time. And he showed a picture of his dad and him in Little League side by side.
Yeah,
with a picture from the Derby. I mean,
yeah, but it tells you
where
we're at in our game right now. Just freaks of nature. They're just freaks, man.
Bigger, faster, stronger, right? So some said that leaving Seattle, if you were wearing a Julio Rodriguez jersey, you were able to board the plane first. Was that true? That was
Maybe.
Fun flight. Good. Yes.
I don't know. I was boarding Group 1, Lauren. I don't know what to tell you.
So relatable of you, Julio Rodriguez, firing up the crowd. Yonder said it, and he was hot from
incredible.
Start to finish. 41 home runs, a first-round record.
The gentleman throwing his BP.
Darts.
I loved it. No step, just arm.
That would be the most nerve-wracking because you're trying to have your guy perform.
Yeah.
And you can't be bad.
The person pitching to Adolis.
This was just as good. No, I think Pete Alonso's guy was, with all due respect.
Pete Alonso's guy, original guy, got injured.
Yeah.
What do you say about with all due respect?
With all due respect.
Well, you can pretty much say anything after that.
Yeah,
No offense,
basically.
but...
No offense, but Vlad Jr. was hitting tank.
Yes, he was. 25 home runs. Randy Rosarena and Vlad Jr. stood after 6 were eliminated.
John Schneider said he was so nervous doing that.
Of course. And we were wondering if Randy was going to cross his arms after every home run. Hit Randy did 2 more with 18 seconds. Pressure's on. 23 of them. Watch him go. Vlad Guerrero Jr., the home run derby champion. And he was so, I mean, you saw in that video a couple minutes ago, everyone's telling him, was it Bo Bichette? He said, breathe. Even the greats of our sport.
You see that kid get smoked by a line drive right in the face?
That's
boom.
Very, very dangerous out there.
Gotta watch out, man.
All right, as for the game itself, the American League came in with a 9-game winning streak against the senior circuit. This is how you get it started.
Right?
Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner.
My old hitting coach, Edgar, he was the best.
First inning, Garrett Cole Bebe making his first All-Star game start. Ronald Acuna Jr. leading off, almost going off. Adolis Garcia fighting the sun, turns around and makes a great catch.
People don't realize how difficult that catch was.
How about this one? Next batter, Freddie Freeman. He smokes one oppo. And Randy Arozarena. What a catch!
He said you can't hit them and rob them. You got to pick one. Who's later mic'd up on first, he said
Moved to the second. Yandy Diaz. He hit a homer, flew home.
Had a baby.
Had a baby.
He did not have a baby.
Yeah.
Well, he and his...
the next day.
His wife had a baby.
Yeah.
Okay. It is straightened out there. 1-0 American League. Fourth inning. George Kirby, the hometown kid, facing Luis Arraez.
Oh, my God.
That is a base knock. brings in J.D. Martinez, and we're tied at 1. Arraez with 2 hits in the game. 7th inning.
I talked to Soler about Arraez and said he can hit any hole in the game.
Lourdes
Shows.
They'll let you know.
Gurriel Jr. I thought he got it.
No.
I thought he had tied the game. However, the play was reviewed, and it was just to the left.
There should not be any challenges to it.
And after just 5 pitches,
Let it ride.
Jordan Romano leaves the game with tightness in the back. 8th inning. Who wants to walk with Elias Diaz? Facing Felix Bautista.
Hey now.
With his mom watching in attendance. He found her as he was circling the bases and crossing home plate. What a moment for the first time 32-year-old All-Star. 9th inning, Julio Rodriguez draws a 2-out walk against Craig Kimbrell. Now, runners at first and second. Jose Ramirez, it was nearly a 30-pitch inning for Kimbrell, but he closes it out. The National League wins for the first time since 2012, 3-2 over the American League. And what a week it was. What was your takeaways there from the
two
game?
Diaz's. We've never had 2 Diaz hit home runs. 2 first-timers on top of that. How cool is that?
I loved watching you. I mean, you said it was your third All-Star.
Third.
You talked about how it's not lost on you how cool this was. And these guys felt it, too. You could see on camera. Everyone was nervous. Everyone was grateful. Everyone was excited. And we saw the video of when he was named an All-Star by his manager. Remember that?
Yeah, he was very
emotional. And he was in tears then. So imagine fast forward to that moment.
And then Yandy Diaz.
I'm glad to see him
Me
do well.
too.
Right? This guy has always been a pure hitter. I remember playing with him in Cleveland. He was just a line-to-line hitter, line drives, hit absolute missiles, Lauren.
But did you know this? Did you know this?
He started elevating, but they knew that if he just started elevating the ball a little more, he was going to have great numbers, and there it is.
And then watch this, Yandy Diaz, goes to Seattle. A few hours, he hits a homer. He flies back to Tampa, and he and his wife welcome Yandy Jr.
Congratulations. No pressure. no pressure. But let me tell you about Dad. Let me tell you what he did. MLB did an amazing job with the legends of the game, too. Ken Griffey and Edgar.
Futures game, all the alumni were there in the Futures game. I thought it was phenomenal.
Perfect.
From both sides, all the coaching staff. Felix was the pitching coach. Jamie Moyer was the other coach. I mean, you had it all.
We're going to talk about the red carpet coming up, but outfit that stood out off the top of your head. What was it?
What was that?
Whose outfit stood out?
Well, Ronald Acuna Jr.'s accessory.
Oh, that was nice.
Oh, it was the necklace.
Yeah, we're going to
explain it for people that don't know.
Well, we'll save it. We'll save it.
We'll save it.
Because I think we got to get to break.